Hello, my name is Mark Deary and I'm a filmmaker. And yeah, I thought today could be a good day to talk about, I guess, creativity in general. Creativity is something I talk about a lot. If you've seen the other videos I've made, this is my 6th video now. I'm going to make 100 videos in 100 days. I'm also working on a feature documentary called Confessions of a Failed Filmmaker. Now, I've talked about this in other videos, not to say that I think I'm a failed filmmaker, but obviously you've got to define that as well. I love creativity and I love what I've done with film, and I just live to do it the way that I do it. I'm at a point now, I've been making films for 20 years, I've said this in a number of videos, and I'm reflecting. After 11 years working in film, in the film industry, and then the last 10 years, almost 11 years in teaching, you know, I'm at a point where I feel like I can talk about this stuff. So today I wanted to talk about something that was a massive inspiration for me in getting into film in the first place. And that is the book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way. I don't know if you've heard of this book. It was written in the 90s. I brought my backpack because I've got some visual aids today. So the book, here it is here, this is my book. It still actually looks pretty pristine, but I've had this book since quite a long time ago. I'd say maybe 2003. I think I bought it when I was in Sydney on a trip before I went to England when I was doing the game company work. But I don't think I actually worked through the book until 2004, when all the game stuff was kind of done and dusted, and I was towards the end of my undergraduate university degree. And I was starting, you know, the seeds had been planted on me leaving the game industry, and I thought for interactive storytelling at that point, but it ended up being for film stuff. I never made a film, but I talked about this in one of my early videos about how I spent 60 hours filming. I spent 9 months, filmed 60 hours of, 9 months of shoots, 60 hours of footage that we ended up editing down to 20 minutes. If you ever go do the tour at Queensland Parliament House, I was the person who edited that tour. For many years they came back to me as a client. But yeah, it was one of my internships when I was in undergrad. Anyway, I did this book, 2004, The Artist's Way. And I could tell you the date that I started it because there's a contract in the front of all of these. And the contract in this one, let me just see if I can find it, the basic tools, we'll talk about that in a second. Here we go. The first time I did it was the 26th of September, 2004. 26th, you can see I've done this multiple times now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've gone through the book 6 times. But the first time I did it was 26th of September 2004. You know what's crazy about that? Today's the 27th of September, so there you go. So if I'd done this video yesterday, it would have been, 21 years ago. Got a Mozzie right near me. All right, so quite a long time ago, 21 years since I first started my journey of doing The Artist's Way. Okay, I'm talking a lot. What is The Artist's Way? So it says on the front here, a course in discovering and recovering your creative self, right? So discovering and recovering your creative self. And I can read what it says on the back. It says, have you ever longed to be able to draw or paint, write or compose music? With The Artist's Way, you can discover how to unlock your latent creativity and make your dreams a reality. The Artist's Way provides a 12-week course that guides you through the process of recovering your creative self. It dispels the I'm not talented enough conditioning that holds many people back and helps you to unleash your own inner artist. Its step-by-step approach enables you to start out on your own path to creativity. Dissolve the barriers that are preventing your creative impulse from finding expression. Use your rediscovered talents in whatever way you wish. Learn that it is never too late to start fulfilling your dreams. And then at the bottom it says, The Artist's Way helps demystify the creative process by making it part of your daily life. It tackles your self-doubts, self-criticism, and worries about time, money, and the support to pursue your creative dream. It has already helped thousands of people to uncover their hidden talents, and it can help you too. Now, this was originally written back in the 90s, I think. Let me have a look at this one. This book was published 1994, copyright Julia Cameron 1993. So there you go. So it existed since the early 90s. There's another great book called Writing Down the Bones by, what's her name? Is it Julie Goldberg? I'd like to think this is Julia Cameron. I'm going to have gotten that wrong. But anyway, Writing Down the Bones is another good book, came out about the same time. So people were having similar ideas to this at the time, like using almost writing as a Zen practice. What's the basic book about? Well, you go through, it's like a 12-step program, I guess, like if you're an Alcoholics Anonymous level. It's 12 weeks, so each week she talks about a new topic, and there are a bunch of topics in here. I didn't know what I was doing when I got it. I just heard somebody say it was a great book, and I'd seen it on the shelf. I mean, I used to go in bookstores and spend 2 hours just looking at all the books, you know, all through the early 2000s. That's what I spent all my money from my part-time jobs on. And, sorry, I'm just looking for the contents. Maybe it doesn't have content. Oh no, here we go. So yeah, week 1, recovering a sense of safety. Week 2, recovering a sense of identity. Week 3, recovering a sense of power. Week 4, recovering a sense of integrity. Week 5, recovering a sense of possibility. Week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. Week 7, recovering a sense of connection. Week 8, recovering a sense of strength. Week 9, recovering a sense of compassion. Week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. Week 11, recovering a sense of autonomy. And week 12, recovering a sense of faith. Now, so, she has essays she's written, you read the essays, there's activities, you go through the activities, and I did all the activities the first time I did this. And most times I go through it, I'll kind of do some activities, but I've been doing this over 20 years now. So the basic tools, she talks about this at the start of all of her books. She invented this thing called morning pages, where you wake up in the morning and before you do anything else, you just write stream of conscious 3 pages in a notebook. I'll show you mine in a sec. And she says it's life-changing, and it is. It's been different for me, but I've been doing them for 20 years, on and off, and I'm always happier when I'm doing them than when I'm not. And I always regret not having done them when I haven't. Like when we had our kids, I was so busy and I kind of wasn't as consistent as I wish I had been, because that's a time I would have loved to have known what was on my mind. But yeah, morning pages. If you've never done this, like I recommend just buy the book. It's the greatest. It's like 20 bucks. I paid 33 Australian dollars for it back when I bought it, but we didn't have Amazon back then. This was from a bookstore. So, you can probably get it for about 20 bucks, I reckon. Maybe it's 30 bucks now, but this is 20 years later, so 30 bucks is a good deal. I would say that this book is the single most life-changing book in my life. At least non-fiction book, and about creativity, hands down. This book was amazing for me. I'd been being creative since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I used to draw. Everybody probably did, draw or write or sing or act or whatever you did when you were a kid. And, little by little you kind of get too embarrassed to do it, or you get worried what other people are going to think, or you get that messaging from school and parents saying, oh, that's not a real job, get a real job, like, you got to have a backup, you got to be able to pay the rent. Do you want to own a house one day? Artists don't own houses, artists are all starving. And this book kind of dispels all that, and it was just exactly what I needed at the time, because I'd worked my whole life. I'd worked so hard to kind of try and be successful, to do what people wanted me to do. Like in high school, I would have loved to have done creative subjects. I loved art up until year 10. And in year 11 and 12, you have to kind of choose the subjects you're going to do in senior. And, you talk to the guidance officer or whatever. This would have been, 1997, end of 1997. And they say, what are you going to do? I say, well, I love art. That's my favourite subject. And I love music. I was playing guitar at that time. And they were like, wait. And they look at my marks and saw that I was getting all A's. And they're like, wait, you're a smart boy. You're a boy. You're going to go do engineering or law or... those are the careers you want to do, or medicine, something that, because you're smart, you can't waste your smartness on drawing or music. And so, in high school I did physics, chemistry, maths B, which is kind of like, I guess, slightly advanced maths, because there's maths A, and then below that there's like vocational maths or whatever. So maths A was like the first kind of university maths, then maths B was the second university maths, then maths C. So I did maths B, maths C, physics and chemistry, and IPT, which was computer programming. And most of those subjects still exist. I think in Queensland they're now called I think it's called math methods is maths B, because there's general maths, which is maths A, and specialist maths is maths C. So I did math methods and specialist maths and physics, chemistry and IPT. And I hated them. Like, I didn't like science, I didn't like maths. I was pretty good at programming, I guess, and I was okay. I was good at everything, I got good marks, but I didn't go, let's read a book about friggin' chemistry. Let's read a book about friggin' waveforms, which I guess was interesting because there's so much physics in filmmaking. But it's not the physics. I'm not a cinematographer. That's not what drew me to this career. It was the creative aspect. But yeah, so I didn't get to do creative subjects in high school, and I don't know if I regret it. There's a lot of things that didn't go great in high school. Like we were meant to have a school musical. My wife and I, we went to the same high school, and we always say, look, we would have gotten together earlier if we'd been on the school musical. They do it every 2 years at our school, and it got cancelled. The teacher was lazy and, shit. But basically, I can say that about him because I'm angry at him and I'll never get over it. But we didn't get to have a musical that year, so I never got to be in the high school musical in year 12, And so that would have been an opportunity to do creative stuff, and I didn't get to do that. But we made our own creativity. We used to organise gigs, and we played all the time in the bands I was in, and she was a singer-songwriter, so she was in music as well. So we would play gigs, she'd play, and then my band would play, and, we still did things. We made things happen. We didn't wait for things to happen for us. I'm just sad I didn't get those opportunities then. Anyway, so I went through uni, and at university I first did arts and film, But then I switched after my first year into multimedia, which ironically was more software engineering. You needed an OP1, like the highest score you could get to get into that course. And after a year of uni, I'd done well, so I had a high enough score to get into that course. And yeah, so in that course we could do like game development and some programming and graphic design and animation and filmmaking, digital filmmaking. And so it was kind of a mix of things. And at that time, multimedia was this emerging field. The year 2000 was my first year of uni, so 2001 I was doing multimedia. And it was amazing. The creative side of it was what got me, and I started a game company way too early, but I was just so into it and so obsessed with it, and I worked like crazy, and that's a story for another day. But it culminated in, 3 years later, I got to work at Lionhead Studios in England on the game Fable and the movies and Black and White 2 and a little bit on BC, but I got to spend a decent amount of time there, and it was amazing. Great experience. I can talk about that another day. I worked a lot with and became friends with, he was only there for 1 or 2 weeks at the time I was there, Ted Timmins, who he stayed with them and then went on to do a lot of game stuff. If you search his name, he's produced a lot of big ticket games. I've got to grab a beer with Ted sometime when I see him, because it's been way too long since we've had a catch up. But yeah, but we connected great, and it was great. I loved games, and I was so excited about my own game as well as what I was doing at Lionhead. But when I got home, I know there was an emptiness, there was a void, and I was meant to go back to Lionhead, but I had this kind of time. I had like a period of 6 months. I lectured at university, like first years while I was in my 4th year. And so I guess I was like a sessional demonstrator who did like tutoring and lecturing. And in game development stuff, because I'd been to England and worked in games. But I kind of, being at Lionhead, it was intense. It was intense. People were working very long days, insane hours. The expectations, so it was a great place to work, great vibes, but it absolutely, you look around the room, everyone there was under the age of 30. And you could just see this is chewing people up and spitting them out. Like, people are working, giving everything. This is their living for it. It's their dream job. Everyone's so happy to be there. And one day you wake up and you're burnt out and exhausted. And I could see this, like people just sleep in your chair, wake up, keep going, And so I got back and I had, a semester of uni left. I had like just my internship to go, So I did my internship, lecture at the same time, waiting to go back to England, in 6 months' time. And yeah, I did a screenwriting course in that last semester of uni. It was just a one-on-one screenwriting course. And I wrote 3 short scripts during it. I just loved it. My lecturer's name was Charlie Strachan. He was a legend, one of my early mentors. He was just amazing. And probably doesn't realise the impact that he had on me, because we never got particularly close. Like we sat together and talked a bit, and my part-time job was working at a cinema, and he used to come to the cinema so we'd speak about movies at the cinema. I remember specifically a conversation we had about Lost in Translation, because he said he'd heard what got whispered, because he was sitting near the speaker, and I'm like, and I don't think anything ever got said. I have no idea what Bill Murray said to Scarlett Johansson in that movie. Maybe he heard it. Maybe he understood, I don't know, but I never heard it, and I wish I knew what he said. I love that movie. Anyway, so Charlie Strachan was great, and that was the beginning of the shift. I'd been loaned from a friend, Josh Gowdy. He'd loaned my friend Kane, El Mariachi by Robert Rodriguez, which he loaned to me, probably shouldn't have, but anyway, I borrowed it, and that blew my mind, seeing El Mariachi, watching the 10-minute film school by Robert Rodriguez. And I gave it back to my friend Kane, who gave it back to Josh Gowdy, who was an animator, and had done a little bit of stuff to do with my game before I went to Lionhead. And he went on to be a teacher, funnily enough. But yeah, this is a long video, sorry, but I'm just flashing back. So I'd been in England, I came back, I was going to go to England again, I had this gap. But movies were starting to get to me. I loved Clerks for a long time, I loved independent film for a long time, but I kind of never really thought that's a job. Like, writing scripts and directing films is a job. Anyway, Robert Rodriguez said it was, so I believed him and thought, well, he made El Mariachi for $7,000, like, I can raise $7,000, like, maybe I can make a movie. And my wife had just written a script after seeing she's my wife now, she wasn't my wife at the time, she's my girlfriend. And I remember walking over to her house, because she was living in a studio apartment, and she'd written this script because she'd seen the scripts I was writing, and I read it and I was like, dude, this is awesome, but you should write everything that comes after this, it'd be amazing. And it's funny because the script she wrote ended up being the epilogue of our first feature film. So never knew what came afterwards, but what came before was the film we made called Maribor ... Anyway, so talking with her, doing the screenwriting course, not being so sure about games, like I kind of got a sense like this is not going to lead to a long and fulfilling career. It was my dream job. But I am so thankful to Peter Molyneux. I'm so thankful that I got to go to Lionhead Studios, because I feel like it saved me 15 to 20 years of my life, because I realised, no, this isn't a career for me, even though I thought it was, but I hadn't done it. And then once I was there, I realised pretty quickly, like, I don't think games are for me. I don't know if I like games that much. And then I fell hard for movies, and I still have. I love movies. And it's always been movies for me since I was born. I've always loved movies. and animations and cartoons and movies. Oh my God, they're like dreams, and I love dreams, I love stories. So this book unlocked that for me. I started doing it. I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I was like, oh, I'll just do it. I started doing morning pages, and I worked through a lot of stuff, and I changed the way I thought about creativity. And having been in a band, like bands and left the band, and then games and left games, this was the third kind of thing in creativity that I was like, I love this. And I didn't know that yet, but I was just figuring it out. And over the course of, 12 weeks of writing morning pages came this first draft of a feature film screenplay. And then I kept going after that. And over the course of that first, year of morning pages, I made a feature film, 2 feature films. And I think it just encourages you to generate things and gives you faith that you can. So this book, that's why I've done it. How many times did I say I've done it? I'll check the signatures again. I've gone through this book. Every week I read a chapter, I've gone through this book now. This exact book in my hands, I've kept pretty good care of it when you think it goes around in my backpacks and stuff. Sorry, she's talking about the basic principles again, which I'll get to in a sec. Basic tools, somewhere here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times. I said that earlier. Okay. So, the main thing she encourages you to do, the tools she uses all the time, are morning pages, which you could have Googled Julia Cameron. I don't know why you clicked on this video, but you learned about my experience with the Artist's Way and why I think you should do it. So call it a review, call it, I don't know what it is. It'll fit in the scheme of all my videos. If you watch them all over the next 100 days, you'll get a sense of what this book does for you. And yeah, the basic tools is morning pages. Wake up in the morning, stream of consciousness. I already said that one. The other one is, and you just do it. You write 3 pages. Takes me about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. It always takes between 20 minutes and half an hour. I always write the time I start and the time I finish so I can go back and see how long they took me, but it's always about half an hour, 20, 25 minutes, 28 minutes. And you might be a slower writer, so maybe it'll take you a bit longer. But yeah, you write and then go do whatever you're gonna do for the rest of the day. And if you miss a day, it's not the end of the world. I talked about burnout in my video yesterday, and it's interesting how this is the sort of thing you'd be like, oh, I missed a day, and you just stop it. It doesn't matter. You miss a day, who cares? If you miss a year, who cares? But when you do it, it's better than when you don't. The other tool she talks about in this book is artist dates. I just had an artist date today. I went to the office shop because I just finished a morning pages book. Literally this morning before I came here, I finished an artist pages book. So I went and I had an artist date to the stationery shop, and it was lovely. Artist date is basically where you and your inner child go on a date. Right now I'm in a Japanese garden. You probably can't tell from the shot setup that I have going here, but in a Japanese garden, and it's lovely. So this is kind of continuing my artist date, even though I'm having it with you now, so it's no longer an artist date, because people aren't allowed to come to your artist date. It's just for you. You go bowling on your own, or you go have some fast food on your own, or go for a walk in the street, go look in a bookstore, go to the stationery store. So this is the new book I bought. It's very boring looking. My inner child would not be loving it, but I love the feel of this paper. It's a Clairefontaine. I've used a few of these. And it says the world's best paper, and the paper is just so lovely. It reminds me of books when I was a little kid. Maybe back then they used thicker paper or something, but I love the smell and I love the way it feels. So this was the book I bought. I haven't opened it yet, but I'll open it tomorrow morning. So I bought that. So here's one I prepared earlier. This is my morning pages book, which I just finished. So you obviously probably can't see this far, but you can see every morning I just write. It's just, I don't know if you can see that. It's basically just stream of conscious thought. Oh, look, I changed pens there because I must have run out of ink. And you just, every day, there's the date. That's my birthday. Haha, that's funny. Keep going. But yeah, every day I write 3 pages, and look, the very last page, I just finished this morning, and I wrote, good times, woo! That was the end of my day. So, finish a book, start a new one. And that's it, that's life. I don't know how many notebooks I've filled up in my life, but it is a lot. It is a lot. Now, in addition to this, I do some other things. I also keep a diary. I've been keeping a diary since I was 13 years old. So here's my current diary. I certainly won't read to you right now, but I'm this far into this diary. And every night before I go to bed, I just write a little bit about what happened that day. So I use a separate notebook for that. That morning pages is its own notebook because it's really messy and you never reread them. I don't think I've ever reread my morning pages books. I could go back 20 years and read what I was writing when I was making my first film, but I never have. Maybe I will one day. But it's not about the quality of the writing. Like I might write, don't know what to write today, I'm tired, don't know why I'm bothering doing these today, this is a waste of time, I've done this enough. You write garbage, it's nonsensical what you write a lot of the time, but sometimes you'll have an epiphany. You'll be like, oh my goodness, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. And it happens. Just stick with it and you have breakthroughs. Like, I want to be a filmmaker when I grow up. I'm going to make a feature film. I can do it. If Robert Rodriguez can do it, Kevin Smith can do it, I can do it. So that's the books I keep. I also have another notebook. Oh God, I'm real show and tell today. This has a pencil in it. This is my bullet journal, which I don't know if you know, Ryder Carroll invented this thing called bullet journaling, and it really works well for me. So this has like just notes I take during the day and my monthly calendar and stuff in it. I like books. And there's a list of things I could do on my leave. You know, that's the last thing I wrote on this. There you go. So, but this is when I need to make a note about something. I just use another notebook. So my diary stays at home next to my bed. My morning pages book sits near our kitchen because I usually write at the kitchen table in the morning as I eat breakfast or while I prepare breakfast. I write my morning pages. And that book just is always with me because I can take notes when I need them. Okay, this is a long video. Again, I can't recommend The Artist's Way highly enough. It has changed my life. If I ever meet Julia Cameron, I mean, maybe she'll see this video. From the bottom of my heart, I just feel blessed that she existed and that I was lucky enough to experience this book. And that might sound really woo-woo, but yeah, a lot of the way I think and talk and the things I do is a direct influence of many years of taking these ideas and running with them. If you want a filmmaking connection to this, Julia Cameron for a while was married to Martin Scorsese. I don't know if that means anything, but she's a creative. She was a screenwriter, she's been a playwright, she's been getting into piano, I've learned from her new books. You know, she's a lifelong creative and she's very eloquent and just really inspirational, unlike I'm probably not in any way inspirational. Maybe I'll get there one day. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about is, I've done this book 6 times, we said that. She wrote a sequel to this, which she's written a number of other books over the years. And I got one when we first moved to this town. I got one, I think it was 2023. It was published in 2022. It was called The Listening Way. And I wasn't a fan. It didn't really resonate with me at all. So I worked through, I think I read about 3/4 of the book, but it didn't resonate with me. But I realized I had the audiobook, so I ordered the real book of the sequel. The follow-up to The Artist's Way is called Walking in This World. Here it is. The pages are nowhere near as good a quality. I think maybe Amazon printed this, who knows, but I'll see if it's got an Amazon timestamp on the back. No, but not as great a pages, but oh my goodness, this book's so great. And after 6 times doing this, getting new ideas, she adds an extra tool to this called the weekly walk, going for a walk on your own for a week, which I'm not particularly great at. I go for runs, so I kind of call that a walk, but it's not the same thing as going for a walk. But so this encourages the weekly walk. And then again, this is less about creative recovery, like if you have burnout or if you're blocked, if you're like, oh, I need to write my next novel, or I need to make my next film, or I need to, choreograph a new dance, whatever your art form is. If you're blocked creatively, kaboom, do this book, The Artist's Way. But once you're not blocked anymore and you want to live more of a creative lifestyle, this says at the top, further steps along the artist's way. And that's exactly what it is. It's kind of more about creativity. It says the practical art of creativity. And that's what this is. It's more about creativity, and it's a great book. I'd put this about, I'd probably put it second to Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Big Magic's a phenomenal book. No, not as good as The Artist's Way, but a very, very good book about creativity. But this, I'd say, is next. Like, this is just such a great book. And I've only read it twice. So, and I can tell you the date I worked through this one is very recently. 2024, I think. When did I sign the contract? It has a contract, which I think, for some people that means something, right? No, where is it? Sorry, I'm wasting time on camera. I did it 20th of February, 2024. So 2024 I started this one, and did 12 weeks. And I read it again once since I listened to the audiobook while I was on jogs. Walking in This World, excellent. Breath of fresh air because I know a lot of what's in The Artist's Way. I kind of expect to see it. But Walking in This World was all fresh for me, and it was just amazing. The writing's so great. It was just great. This was the one where I felt like Julia became more my friend because I was learning more about what she was doing in her life. Or should I say Miss Cameron, probably, because we haven't been formally introduced. But just great. I highly recommend. Maybe if you finish The Artist's Way and you want to keep going, just move straight on to Walking in This World. Though I don't think you should. I think you should be creative for a while. Don't have the obligation of reading this every week. I think just go be creative when you finish it. But when you feel like your creativity is waning again, try Walking in This World. Great book. And recently, maybe a month or 2 ago, I got this one because I talked a little bit for about 5 seconds about a musical I was directing this year that fell apart. And it was devastating. It's fine, I'm getting emotional. I haven't grieved it yet, and I haven't really thought fully about it yet. Probably about 3 people are ever going to watch this far in the video, so it doesn't matter if I get emotional, but yeah, it really affected me. I think maybe making these videos is the thing that's coming out of that falling apart. it's political and it's too fresh for me to probably go into a lot of detail about, but it was bad, you know, it was bad. It was the furthest towards burnout I've been pushed, the furthest towards exhaustion I've been pushed, and it was 100% politics. Like, the people in the musical were incredible, like the performers, but surrounding it there was just a lot of toxicity. That's as much as I'll say now. But anyway, off the back of that I thought, you know what, I know she's got a third book, because there's a trilogy. She's written other books, but these three go together. I was like, I'm just going to order that third book. So I ordered this quite a while ago. Well, not quite a while. A month ago, 2 months ago. And I started reading it aloud to Candice, my wife. And that kind of stopped me just starting it and committing to it. And I haven't actually signed it yet. So I'm going to sign it right now. I've got a pencil there right now. But I do morning pages every day anyway. I've been doing morning pages a month, so I just finished. But I'm going to go through this as part of our journey. So part of our journey together, maybe you can do it with me. You can't, you'd have to get the book and follow along. But just knowing the background, I'm going to be going through this book for the next 12 weeks and we're doing 100 days of videos. Today's, I don't know what day I'm up to already, 94 or 95 days to go. 95, 94, I don't know. Well, this is the sixth video, so 94 more videos to do. Or 93 after this video, 93 more videos to do. But I just want hope and excitement. So I've already read the first two chapters, but I didn't sign it. So I'm going to start and do the exercises. I'm going to commit to it right now. This is the basics. It's still the same basics: morning pages, artist date, and weekly walk. Here we go. Creativity contract. My name. Commit myself to the regular use of the 3 basic tools for the duration of the course. I'll write morning pages daily, take an artist date and a weekly walk once a week. Additionally, I commit myself to excellent self-care, adequate sleep, that was my video yesterday, good food and gentle companionship. All right, I'm going to sign this right now, so I'm going to write my name. My name is Mark Deary, if you don't know my name, M-A-R-K-D-E-E-R-E. It's not Deere like John Deere tractors, even though it's spelled the same way. I'm going to sign. Boom. And today's date is the 27th of the 9th, 2025. There you go. Uncovering a sense of optimism. And I'm feeling more optimism than I had when the musical fell apart a month ago. Or more than a month ago. 2 and a bit months ago. I didn't really plan on thinking about the musical, but it makes me really sad. Really sad. Anyway, it can still be done. We'll produce it again another day. Candice wrote it. It's incredible. It's called Rockin' Heads Roll. And one day I will get to see it, even if I'm not the director of it. But, okay. Sorry. This is about The Artist's Way. And Walking in This World, the second book, and Finding Water, the third book. Now these books, so the first one was 1993. This one was copyright, some people are interested in these sorts of things. This one's copyright 2002, first trade paperback edition 1993. So 9 years later, she wrote this one. 2002, I was in my 3rd year of university, but my 2nd year of my multimedia degree. And Finding Water, well, this is totally different paper again. This feels more like recycled paper, but I think this is still an early edition. But I only just recently bought it, but I tried to find the old design. They have new designs now, I think, on Amazon. This one's published 2006, copyright 2006, Julia Cameron, and this trade paperback edition was 2009. So I've got an old book here, printed in 2009, and yeah, it's exciting. Okay, so there's the 3 books: The Artist's Way, Walking in This World, and Finding Water. I highly recommend The Artist's Way. If you are creative, even if you're not, if you think I'm not creative, if you find 12 weeks and do The Artist's Way. Maybe one of these days, maybe this is something I'll do, just talking to you now. Like, I talk about how I'm doing this channel because I want to build a community. I want to meet like-minded people. There's no one around here. There's my alarm. No one around here. I've really struggled to find creative people around here who are just doing things. You know, we have friends in Melbourne, friends in Brisbane a bit, but like, I just want to be around more people who do things and who are creative and who live creatively. And maybe I could start a group. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with online for now. I don't want to give myself too much to do because I'm still making films. I'm still doing a lot of things. But yeah, if you can find a group, do it with a group. Maybe we can do it online or something. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But it's a solitary thing, and I recommend, well, you can do it in groups. She has advice for groups in the back of each of the books, I think. But yeah, I recommend The Artist's Way. I've talked a lot, so I'm going to, put this away now. I'll put these away off camera. And thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm in a weird headspace now, having just thought about the musical again. But this is what'll help you. It's medicine, and it's a way to get insight into who you are and what you want, and it's you helping you. I mean, she's provided the tools, and the essays are really nice and supportive and validating, but it's you does the work, and it's you who has the breakthroughs, and it's you who's got to take care of yourself. So look, if all I did was introduce you to this, then I honestly, I wish you every piece of success in being creative, living a creative life, getting any kind of creativity out, because I wish you could see the view I can see right now. It's so glorious and beautiful. Maybe I'll just turn the camera around for 2 seconds at the end of this video, just because it's not something I've ever done before, but it's a beautiful view down there. So we'll do that to finish off, just to kind of celebrate these lovely covers, which are just, I've always loved the original artworks. They're so beautiful. I don't know if you can see them. I'll leave these here. I'll turn the camera around so you can see, and then we'll say bye-bye. But thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. I have to unlock the camera to turn it around. Here we go. Give it a look. This is what I was looking at while you were doing that. Sorry, I'm all backwards. Let me just have a look in here. Is that kind of nice? I don't know if you can see that very well, but that was the view I had while I was speaking with you today. So thanks everyone. There's my hand. I will see you all tomorrow.